Good morning. We are in Matthew chapter 18. Interesting context. So, just take heed that you do not despise one of these little ones. So, at the beginning of chapter 18, Jesus, when they ask who would be the greatest, right, he takes a child and says, you need to become like children. And then he warns, hey, you better not stumble one of these kids, right? Scandalizo. That's the idea. You better not stumble one of these children, lead them to sin. Then he warns, right? Verses 6 to 9 is that it'd be better if a millstone is thrown on your neck. Verse 6. And he says, woe to the world, because there's going to be offenses, but woe to the one who the offenses come through. If your hand, foot caused you to sin, cut them off. Your eye caused you to sin, pluck it out. And so now down in verse 10, take heed that you do not despise one of these little ones. So this is a rolling thing. It's like a new story that we all know, but it's part of a greater context. And I didn't read ahead, so I'm hoping I figure what that greater context is. For I say to you that in heaven, their angels always see the face of my Father who is in heaven. Did you know this is the verse where the concept and the argument can be made for guardian angels? We can't hold fast to the doctrine, I don't think, but this verse seems to point that direction, that their angels always see the face of my Father who is in heaven, that the angels belong. The Bible describes the number of the angels as being like the stars of heaven. And so there's a lot more stars than people, like numerous times more stars than people. There's enough angels to go around, likely that every human who's ever lived on planet Earth could have had their own unique angel, and no one had to ever share one. So kind of a cool thought. But now it says, for, verse 11, the Son of Man has come to save that which was lost. What do you think? If a man has 100 sheep and one of them goes astray, does he not leave the 99 and go to the mountains to seek the one that is straying? And if he should find it, assuredly I say to you, he rejoices more over that sheep than over the 99 that did not go astray. Even so, it is not the will of your Father who is in heaven that one of these little ones should perish. Oh, this parable of the lost sheep. Now, he's talking about the value it is of seeing restoration, the value of seeing that lost sheep get brought back into the fold, that the shepherd is willing to actually even endanger the other sheep in order to bring that one sheep home. What does that look like? It's a hard question to answer because there are many different lives and many different people and many different scenarios. Recently, someone brought up the point that typically a shepherd can't watch all the sheep. And that's why you need sheepdogs to help out the shepherd to keep track of all the sheep. We've been working on Operation Sheepdog now for a little while, right? We're trying to keep track of all the sheep and find people who want to join in and be sheepdogs. You might not be a shepherd, but a sheepdog. And if you aren't familiar, the word that we have for shepherd, that is the exact and only word in our Bible, in the Greek, that's used to be translated pastor. Pastor, shepherd, same word. Now, Jesus, he's called the chief shepherd, the great shepherd, and the good shepherd. So Jesus, he's the chief shepherd. But that doesn't mean it's blasphemous to acknowledge that in the Bible, the pastors they're a shepherd. They're the ones who oversee the sheep. John chapter 21, Peter, do you love me? Well, you know that I love you, Lord. All right, then feed my sheep, tend my lambs, right? Feed my sheep. So that's the idea, is that it's the shepherd's job to watch after the sheep, to feed the sheep, to care for the sheep. And here he's talking about going after those lost ones. And he points out that there's rejoicing, and there should be rejoicing. You know, it could be easy just to be happy with the flock you've got. It could be happy for you guys to be happy with the flock you've got. Well, we've got a nice little church, and we've got our friends, and, you know, we could just continue on like this for eternity. But not just on me, but on all of us, identifying there's a lot of lost sheep out there. Now, lost sheep, I think in this context, because Jesus gives this parable elsewhere, I think in Luke, where it's the parable of the lost coin, right? And we have the parable of the lost sheep, parable of the lost coin, and then, the prodigal son, right? Those are all found in one little section, in one chapter. And so some of it is also, I think, bringing the sheep into the fold who have been out of the fold. Some sheep haven't been in the fold yet because God knows. God knows those who are going to be brought into the fold at a later date. So they're kind of lost sheep too. We just haven't realized they're sheep yet. And so having that heart to go and find those lost sheep, to bring them on into the fold, and to do whatever it takes. And I think that's the hard part, is that sometimes it's going to take knocking on 500 doors before finally someone answers and responds, and you realize that you just found a lost sheep. Sometimes we need to be rejected numerous times through numerous advances and numerous attempts. We all have our breaking points. We all have our limits. But Christ is relentless in his pursuit of his lost sheep. And that needs to be our hearts. No matter how many times failure has come, no matter how many times it didn't end the way we were intending it to, you keep on plugging away, trying to get those lost sheep, and you get them home where they belong. Sheep are dumb. Know what you're working with here. Sheep are defenseless. They have no way to protect themselves. Sheep are dumb. Did I already say that? Yeah, I did that on purpose. Because sheep are dumb. And we need a shepherd. And so we need to look to our chief shepherd and our good shepherd, because we will wander and be that lost sheep sometimes. We'll get astray and get lost because, we're pretty dumb. I'm speaking for myself. You can, boast of your own accolades. But the point is that it's so easy for us to get lost. It's so easy for us to get in a funk. Sheep, scared, and they won't go to safety because they're scared of something. And so often we can become scared. We become scared of how it might turn out. Scared of if things go wrong. Scared of if, it'll never be the same way again. And then we become the lost sheep because we're scared of thises and that's. And we're not trusting in our shepherd. So the Lord has a big place in his heart for his sheep. He'll do anything to get the lost ones. And sometimes we're the lost ones. Other times it's other people who reject us and reject us and reject us, but we need to go after them. So there you go. God bless you guys. Have a great day. It's good to see you all. And we will go to Matthew 18:15-20 tomorrow, dealing with the sinning brother. That's a good text to understand properly in context. So we'll be there tomorrow. You guys take care, and I'll see you then. Today's coffee brought to you by the Bar M. See ya.